ልዩነት መፍጠር ዓላማችን ነው። ዓለም አቀፍ ተወዳዳሪ መሆን አለባችሁ። የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ጥራትና ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ስልጠና በመስጠት ብቁ ዜጋ እያፈራን ነው። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ፣ በቲኬቲንግና ሪዘርቬሽን፣ በሆቴልና ቱሪዝም ሙያዎች አሰልጥነን ተወዳዳሪ እናደርጎታለን። ኮሌጃችን ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ICM ጋር በመተባበር ዓለም አቀፍ ዕውቅና ያለው ስልጠና እየሰጠ ይገኛል። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ የምንሰጣቸው ስልጠና ከኢትዮጵያ ሲቪል አቪዬሽን ባለስልጣን ሙሉ ዕውቅና አለው። አድራሻ ከጎላጉል ታወር 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።
So it is our duty to read the rule under paragraph 8 and find out what does the instructions given relating to the stopover application, because some rules may restrict on the number of stopovers a routing should have. So if you cannot meet the conditions of a stopover, then you must pay a penalty, or you may not be able to use the applicable fare because of the stopover condition. So you must make sure you meet the stopover conditions when you are calculating or when you are trying to come up with a special fare ticket. Now, we have an example here. Look at this example. We have an example from Brussels, Mexico, back to Brussels. Now, when you look at this journey, how many stopovers do you have here? Who can tell us the number of stopovers we have on this journey? Yes, how many stopovers? I want to see hands up. Yes, hands up. How many stopovers do you have here? And David.
Only one stopover, and that is Amsterdam.
No, not correct. I've seen another hand up. Who can try? I want to see hands up. Yes, Said, Hayat.
Three stopovers.
3 stopovers, no.
Yes.
3 stopovers, you are wrong. I can see another hands up. Meba.
Only 2.
Only 2. Which one and which one? Correct.
London and Paris.
London, Paris, correct. So this journey has only 2 stopovers, London and Paris. So the passenger will arrive in London, then depart London to Mexico, then from Mexico, Paris, then Paris to Brussels. I told you non-stopovers are the ones with an X. So Amsterdam is a non-stopover. Your passenger will arrive at Amsterdam and depart within 24 hours. But when he reaches London, he can stay in London for more than 2 days before he go to Mexico. After departing Mexico to Paris, he may stay in Paris for more than 2 days. So London and Paris becomes 2 stopovers within the journey. Now, let's use excursion fare rule. Let's use excursion fare rule from Brussels to Mexico and see what does the rule says in relation to the stopovers. So we use our part extract. So let's use part extract. Our journey was from where to where? Our journey is from which point to which point? Brussels to Mexico. Brussels to Mexico. When you enter, we are using PEX. PEX or excursion, let's use excursion. The last one, economy class excursion 6 months, with the rule X0762. When you click on the rule number, it gives you the paragraphs. So we go to paragraph 8. I hope you can see paragraph 8. So paragraph 8, it says 2 permitted in each direction. So what does that mean? Who can tell us how you understand with that statement? It says 2 permitted in each direction. Let me make it large. Yes, I hope now you can see. So paragraph 8, under the rule X0762, it says 2 stopovers permitted in each direction. So what comes to your mind? What does that mean? I want to see hands up very fast. What does that mean? Okay. Each direction means outbound and inbound. So how many stopovers are permitted? How many stopovers are permitted? Hands up very fast. Whose hand is up? So Freeword said 2, wrong. Helen said 4, correct. Nura 4, correct. Janet 4, correct. Jordanos 2, wrong. Eden 4, correct. Samra 5, very wrong. Now, when they say 2 permitted in each direction, it means you are permitted to have 2 stopovers on your outbound and 2 stopovers on your inbound. So the total number of stopovers permitted for this journey will be 4. You cannot have 3 on the outbound and 1 in the inbound. You must have 2 in each direction, maximum of 2. You can have 1, 1, you can have 2, 0, you can have 2, 2, because the condition instructs you to have only 2 stopovers in each direction. Now, I have a question here. They're asking why we use the last step of class. These are examples, so I wanted us to look at the instructions relating to stopovers. We can use any of the fares. Even if you use the PEX, you can see there are 2 types of special fare there. According to excursion, it allows 2 stopovers in each direction. Let's see, what does the other fare states on stopovers? Let's look at the PEX one. The PEX one, which is 4 months, when you go to conditions under stopover, you are told from Mexico. I hope you can see that. I'm trying to enlarge it. You can see the instructions. From Mexico, A, 1 permitted per pricing unit. B, 1 additional stopovers per pricing unit at a charge of 75. From Europe, 1 permitted in Area 1. B, 1 additional permitted in Mexico per pricing unit at a charge of the given figures. So the fare that I've used, I've only used it as an example. So you can use any of the fares as long as you get the point relating to stopover instructions. Now, according to example, the one I choose to use, the excursion, you are permitted to have 2 stopovers in each direction, meaning you can have a maximum of 4 stopovers. So, this is the explanation. X0762, which is excursion fare rule, it allows 2 stopovers in each direction. So the passenger has only 1 stopovers in each direction. Outbound, we have London. Inbound, we have Paris. These are both within the limit of the stopover provision of the rule number X0762, which allows a maximum of 2 stopovers. Meaning you can have 1, you can have 0, you can have up to 2 stopovers, not more than 2. So when you are looking at the stopover conditions of the special fare rule, try to understand the number of stopovers allowed by the rule number. Then check the fare and decide. Check if the passenger is within the permitted limit. Now, there are 2 types of stopover. Moreover, all the stopovers are free of charge. Remember, you have been allowed to have 2 stopovers free of charge. You don't pay for it. You don't pay for anything. So, the fare you're paying, including the 2 stopover, you don't pay anything for the stopover charge. That is per the excursion fare rule. Now let's look at example 2. Let's look at example 2, Mexico, Atlanta, Amsterdam, back to Mexico. So according to this journey, how many stopovers do we have? How many stopovers do we have according to this journey? Mexico, Atlanta, Amsterdam, Mexico. Yes. You can see answers here. We have Hayat 1, Freehold 1, correct? There's only 1 stopover. Which one is that? Which stopover is that? Yes, which stopover is that? Atlanta, correct. So Atlanta is the only stopover on this particular given routing. So before we look at the instructions relating to stopover, I want us to use the rule number X0765. So let's go to our part extract, get the rule number and see what are the instructions relating to the stopover conditions. So let's look at Mexico, Amsterdam in our part extract. Mexico, Amsterdam. Mexico to Amsterdam. Then you enter. We are using the first rule, economy class, apex fare 3 months. So let's use economy class, apex 3 months. This one with the rule Y X0765. I'll make it large so that you can be able to see. I hope you can see that. I've enlarged it. So, what does the rule say? Who can read for us the instruction of the rule? Someone to read for us the condition of the rule? Stopover, paragraph 8. Someone to read for us? Who is reading? I can see 2 hands up. The same person. We are so many in class, people should be reading, not only Hayat. Okay, Hayat can read for us.
Okay, stopovers. A, 1 permitted per pricing unit at a charge of $75.
Okay, when they say pricing unit, what does that mean?
Pricing unit means that they charge it in the country.
No. Someone else to try. When they talk about 1 stopover per pricing unit, what does that mean? Who can try? I want to see hands up. Again, Sayat said no, someone else. Meba, I can see your hands up. Yes.
For charge stopover.
I'm talking about the pricing unit. What does that mean?
I don't.
Yes. Who can try? What is a pricing unit? Pricing unit. Now, pricing unit is the entire journey. Pricing unit is the entire journey, whereby you are being told that you can have only 1 stopover on the entire journey, but this stopover is not free of charge. You must pay for it. So in general, there is no free stopover here. You have been allowed only 1 stopover, but the stopover is not free. If you are not ready to pay, then you don't qualify for that fare. If you are ready to pay, then you can qualify for that price. So this journey permits only 1 stopover for the entire routing, but this 1 stopover permitted is charged. You must pay some money for you to travel on that particular type of special fare. So the stopover allowed here is not free of charge. You must pay for it. So let's see how we apply it. So I've been told, according to the rule X0765, there is no free stopover for the entire pricing unit. Instead, one stopover is permitted at a charge of $75. So what you need to do is, once you collect this amount of money, you convert it to NUC. You convert it to NUC using the IATA rate of exchange. Then you show it on your automated ticket. So you can see on our ticket, the stopover was at Atlanta. So you fill the ticket from Mexico, the carrier, Atlanta, then S, then the amount of stopover you have collected in NUC, then the carrier, Amsterdam, the fare break point, until the end, then you show the ROI. So you can see the given information here. It shows the passenger have paid for a stopover charge, which is 75 US NUC. Now, when you are in exam, then you see an automated ticket with an S. There's an S somewhere on automated ticket. Automatically know that S represents stopover charge. Let me put it here. NB. S of 75.00 represent as stopover charge. Represent as stopover charge. So anytime you're in exam, then you see this S, then the figure, then they ask you which amount is this. Automatically S represents stopover. Now, what if you see Q? What does Q represent? When you see Q, what does that represent? Yes, when you see Q, who can remind us about the Q? What does Q means in a ticket? Yes, who can remind us on that? Q. Q for cubic. Huh? Okay, there's an answer here. Now I'm asking a question. If you see an S, it shows stopover charge. What if this S was Q? What does that mean? What will come to your mind? Assuming this S is Q. Yes? Now, when a Q appears on your automated ticket, that Q represents a security surcharge. Q represents a security surcharge. Let me put it here again. Q will represent a security surcharge. So Q represents security surcharge, whereas an S will represent what you call a stopover. So you put it here in small letter, will represent a stopover. Charge. So when Q appears, that means security surcharge. When S comes, when there's an S, it means the passenger paid some charges relating to stopovers. And that's all about the stopover charges. Now, before we summarize the stopover, there is something else I want you to know about the stopover charge. There's something I want you to note on stopover charge. So, this was the example we did first. Now, if there is a stopover charge, you quote the figure in the currency where the journey originated. When you're collecting any figure for stopover, quote the amount of money expressed in the currency of the origin of the journey. So if the journey was from Brussels, then you're quoting the surcharge in euro. If your journey was from Switzerland, then you quote in Swiss franc. If your journey is from Canada, you quote in Canadian dollar. That's how you'll be collecting the security surcharge. Next, let's look at transfer. What is a transfer? What is a transfer? I can say I've given you the answer already. So what's a transfer? Transfer, who can tell us or who can remind us on which points are considered as transfer points? Transfer points. So I can see an answer from Janet. Transfer is changing of airlines at intermediate points, okay. Changing of airlines. Not really, but you're almost there. From El Shaddai, it's an intermediate point or transfer point. Not really. Maybe it's a point between origin and destination. No. Yeah, okay, you're almost there. Two international permitted in each direction. You are very fast, Hayat. I'm talking about transfers. Which points are considered as transfer? Nora?
When passengers change from the service of one airline to another.
Okay. When passengers change from the service of one airline to another. Now, which is very, very correct. When you change the service of one airline to another, that point where you are changing, we refer to it as a transfer point. And in ticketing, we talked about two types of transfers. We mentioned that passengers can have what you call an online transfer, or they can have what you call an interline transfer. So who can tell us the difference between online transfer and interline transfer? The difference between online transfer and interline transfer. Not the same people. You are so many here. All of you should say something in class. Not only 2 to 3 students. The difference between online transfer and interline transfer. Yes, who goes first? Now I'll be able to choose by myself because people, they may be sleeping. Fikra, online and interline, what the difference? Yes. The difference between online and interline transfer. Gelila? Gelila?
Yes.
Yes, what's the difference between interline and online transfers?
I don't know.
Okay. Fasika? Fasika?
Yes.
The difference between online transfer and internet transfer.
Change of airlines, online transfer is in the same airlines, and interlines in different airlines.
Okay, correct. So, just to remind Galila, the way Fasika said, when you're talking about online transfer, it's when you're transferring from the service of one airline to the service of the same airline, but different aircraft. For example, you are changing from ET817 to ET001. So when you change from ET to ET, we refer to it as an online transfer. When you change from Kenya Airways to ET, we refer to it as an interline transfer. So interline, different airline, online, the same airline. So when you are changing the service, we refer to that point as a transfer point, either online transfer or interline transfer. Now, special fare rules to some extent also have restrictions on transfers. They normally give restrictions on the number of transfers you're allowed to have on a given journey. So we are going to use the same example, the one from Brussels, and see what does the rule says in regard to transfers. So let's go to the fare rule and interpret the condition of a transfer condition of the special fare rule. So we go to our part extract, Brussels to Mexico. We type here Brussels to Mexico. We are using the escalation fair rule. Then we go to paragraph 9. I'll make it large. I hope you can see very well. So who can tell us what are the instructions? Someone to read for us the instructions? Someone to read for us the instructions? Not Janet. Let's ask Emias. Emias, can you read for us the instructions? Yes, Emias. Yes. Emias.
The Maggie or
Paragraph 9. Can you see paragraph 9?
yes, I can see.
Oh, unmute yourself.
Draw
Your voice
the
is not
first.
clear.
Is that
No, just leave it. Let's Yapsra read for us. Yapsra. Yapsra. Paragraph 9. Yapsra cannot read, okay. Meret. Read for us paragraph 9.
Paragraph 9 transfers A for permitted in each direction.
Correct. 4 permitted in each direction. What does that mean? Who can interpret for us that? What does that mean? Netzanet? Jordanos, what does that mean? 4 permitted in each direction. What comes to your mind? Yes, Jordanos. Jordanos? Okay, say it because they don't want to talk. What comes to your mind? Hayat?
For me, in the outbound and the inbound. That means in the outbound, it's allowed 4, and the inbound, it's allowed 4 transfers.
So a total of?
That means 8.
8, correct. So you have been told 4 permitted in each direction, meaning you can have a total of 8 transfers. 4 in the outbound, 4 in the inbound. Now, let's go to our question. Brussels to Mexico. Brussels to Mexico. Brussels to Mexico. How many transfers are there? How many transfers can you see there? Yes, who can tell us how many transfers can you see on that journey? Brussels, Amsterdam, London, Mexico, Paris, London. How many transfers can you see there? I want to see more answers very fast. I want to see so many answers. I want to see many answers very fast. Type your answers there. Those are only 6. Those are 12. You are more than 32. So I need almost 20 answers. Look at our journey. How many transfers can you see there? I want to see more answers. Those are 15. 5 more. You are 32. So I need only 20. Those are 16. 4 more. 2 remaining. Try to count and write your answer there very fast. Okay, we got 18 answers. Let's see. So Ellen says 4. Samra Daniel 3. Fasika, I don't understand what you're saying. Arms slow and par. I don't know that one. Emias 3. Fasika, I don't understand what you're trying to say here. Sable 4. Helen 2. Melat 4. El Shaddai 3. Yabsra 2. Milka 3. Meba 4. Samra 3. Nura 4. 3. Hayana Salamawit 3. 2. Hayat 3. Janet 3. So when you look at the journey, it has only 3 transfers. So those who have 3 transfers, you are correct. Those who have 4 and 2, you are wrong. So the transfers on this journey are 3. That is Amsterdam, London, and Paris. I told you that when you are counting transfers, count all the intermediate points as transfer points. Meaning, according to this journey, we have 2 transfers on the outbound and 1 transfer on the inbound. So we have a total of 3 transfers. In this case, you are within the limit. The limit was 8, but we only have 3. So we are good to go. So when you're calculating and counting transfers, always count all the points in between the origin and destination as transfer points. So the same thing, you have been told when counting transfer, only count intermediate points, including stopovers and connections or transfers and connections. Do not count fair construction points. In this case, you can say that is the FCP. FCP will not be counted when it comes to stopover counting and transfer counting. So don't count fair construction points, but count all the intermediate points as transfer points. So that is how you'll be able to count the stopover and non-stopover points. The same thing, to some extent, when you have what we call stopover and transfer charges, you must collect the money expressed in the currency of the country of origin. So once you have that figure, convert it to NUC, then show it in our ticket as an S plus the transfer charge. And that is all about paragraph 9 and 10. So Nura, you have a question, okay? What are you saying? What are you asking? Yes? Nora, you have a question?
Yes, I have. In the
Okay.
example, find the transfer point.
Okay.
Are we going to add the airlines, which is written the KLUP?
No, you don't have to write the airline to add the airlines. The airline shows the changes that was taking place from which airline to which airline. So you only have to count the points in between the FCP, the origin, destination, and the fabric point. You don't have to mind about the carrier. If they ask you about which type of transfer, is when you mind the carriers. You have to check which transfer was that. Because when you look at outbound, we changes from KLM to BA and BA to AM, Air Mexico. So when you look at that, that represents interline transfers. But when you come to the inbound, whereby from Paris, from Mexico, they arrived with Amsterdam, the AM, they used AM again to travel. Then from Paris, they changed to Air France. So generally, all the stopover, all the transfers, they are interline transfers because the passenger changes from the service of one airline to the service of another airline. So when you're counting transfer, unless they ask you about which type of transfer is that, it's when you check the carrier. But if they ask you how many transfers are there, or they give you a limit of the number of transfers, you don't have to mind about the carriers. You only go straight to the point in between and determine whether the journey is within the limit or not. Now, the last, yes?
How you add the transfers?
How?
How we count the transfer?
Okay, let's go back again to the question, to the example. Now, you are being told here under transfer, they say a transfer takes place when a passenger changes from the service of one carrier to the service of the same carrier, that's online, or changes from the service of one carrier to the service of another carrier known as internet transfers. Then down here, you have been told when counting transfers, only count the intermediate points, which include stopovers and connections. Do not count a fair construction point. So when you come to our journey here, you are told to count transfers. How do you count the transfers? You count all the intermediate points, which is stopovers and non-stopovers. So according to our journey, on the outbound, we have 2 transfers. That is Amsterdam and London. Then on the inbound, there's only 1 transfer. That is Paris. We don't count Brussels and Mexico because Brussels and Mexico represent your fair construction points. So our FCP on this journey here, our FCP is Brussels to Mexico, of which we don't count them. We don't count them because we have been exempted from counting the FCP points. So you only count the points in between the origin and the fair break point, in between the 2 fair components, that's outbound and inbound. Okay? Are you okay now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's continue. Now, paragraph 18. Now, paragraph 18, it gives us the conditions, the restrictions. Remember, every time you purchase anything, for example, you buy a phone, you are given a receipt. Then this receipt has some kind of conditions, whereby it says goods once sold cannot be refunded. So the endorsement normally gives instructions on refundability in case of anything. It addresses the restrictions relating to the refundable of the ticket. Maybe if you have booked a ticket, then you cancel the journey and you want to be refunded. The endorsement will give you the instructions relating to that. If you are given a ticket and there's a no-show, then they'll give you an instructions on what will happen when it comes to refundability. So paragraph 18 instructs us on refundability and any other restrictions we have on the ticket. So let's look at our PAT extract and see what does the rule says relating to refundability. So we are using the same rule, YX0762. Let's look at paragraph 18. Now, when you look at this condition, there's no paragraph 18. So what do? You go to standard condition 100 for paragraph 18. So we go back home, then come to the fair rule, go to standard condition 100, then scroll all the way to paragraph 18, and you get the instructions. Now, I'll enlarge it so at least you can see what does the paragraph 18 say. So look at paragraph 18. I hope you can see. Now, you've been told ticket endorsement. If you are quoting PEX and if you are quoting Apex, Super Apex, and super PEGs, then you're being told ticket must show by insert or sticker in accordance with the important notice in the how to use the fare rules that travel is at special fare and subject to special fare conditions. You must show, like you have quoted a special fare and the amount of money you have quoted, it goes per the instructions of that special fare rule. Ticket and any subsequent reissue must be annotated. That is non-refundable for PEX or non-refundable for Super Apex or non-refundable for PEX and Apex, then the same non-refundable for Super PEX total fare. Number 3, ticket and any subsequent reissue must be annotated as voluntarily. Changes restricted. So if you want to change voluntarily, they will restrict on that. If you want to change involuntarily, that the airline is doing the changes, then it may also be restricted. So generally, you are given the instructions relating to anything that may happen to the ticket. If you want to reissue, if you want to cancel, if there's a no-show, it gives you the instructions on whether the ticket is refundable or not refundable. For other individual fares like excursion, there is no restriction on that. You can change, you can reissue, there's no problem. You can reissue with a penalty, you can cancel with a penalty, you're allowed. You can be refunded per the instructions given by the rule so that you are able to do the changes without any problem. So in general, you must check the endorsement, look at the instructions that govern that specific special fare so that you can be able to come up with the instructions to your passenger when it comes to reissuing, when it comes to canceling, when it comes to no-show. So you must show it. They say you must show it by a sticker. Outline it so that your passenger understands. In case of anything, the ticket is not refundable. If you cannot show by a sticker, you can mark it using a different marker. You can put it in red. You can underline it so that your passenger knows. In case of cancellation, then the ticket is not refunded. In case of reissuing, the ticket will not be refunded and a penalty must be paid. So the restrictions that governs endorsements will be found under paragraph 20 of the special fare rule. So you're being told this paragraph addresses the ticketing entries that appears in the endorsement stroke restrictions data elements of the e-ticket. Apex and PEX fares are usually subject to penalties for cancellation, penalties for no-show, refunds, and booking before and after departure. The entry non-ref is required if is to be shown on the ticket as well, meaning the ticket will not be refunded. But for excursion fare, there is no restriction on that. So you can put it here. EE fares has no restrictions. Has no restrictions. So this is how you'll be interpreting the paragraphs relating to special fare rule. So that's all about all the paragraphs from paragraph 0 until paragraph 18. So I want you to go through all the paragraphs. Try to understand more. If you have the PH extracts, try to look at the paragraphs, understand condition 100. Try to understand what are the instructions given under each and every paragraph so that we can now start our calculation in our next class on Friday. So on Friday, we are going to look at the next part of special fare, how to select the fare breakpoint and calculate the fare for special fare.
በትምህርት ከፍ ብሎ መብረር ይቻላል። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ከከፍተኛ ትምህርት አግባብነትና ጥራት ኤጀንሲ ሙሉ ዕውቅናን ባገኘንባቸው በማስተርስ ዲግሪ ኤምቢኤ በስትራቴጂክ ማኔጅመንት፣ ኤምቢኤ በባንኪንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ ኤምቢኤ በቢዝነስ ሊደርሺፕ፣ ኤምቢኤ በሪስክና ኢንሹራንስ፣ ኤምኤስሲ በኢንተርናሽናል ትሬድ እና ኢኮኖሚክስ ዘርፎች በእውቀት ለመቅረጽ የበቁ ፕሮፌሰሮቻችን አረንጓዴ መብራታቸውን አብርተዋል። በነገራችን ላይ በኬንያ ሀገር ከሚገኙ ስመጥር ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች በሚመጡ ፕሮፌሰሮች የትኩረት መስክ ትምህርቶቹ መሰጠታቸው ልዩ ያደርገናል። በምርጥ የትምህርት ስርዓት የተገነባው ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ በመጀመሪያ ዲግሪ በአቪዬሽን ማኔጅመንት፣ በሆቴል ማኔጅመንት፣ በአካውንቲንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ በማርኬቲንግ ማኔጅመንት አስተማማኝ ትምህርት ይገቢውና ራስዎንና ሀገሮን ይለውጡ። አድራሻ 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።